All right. Hello, everyone. Looks like we still have some people joining our webinar today, but just to start off, I would like to thank everyone so much for joining us today. I'm really thrilled, really excited to have everyone on board because we have some very exciting information to share, really new in the digital marketing industry. More importantly, really new in the self-storage industry specifically. So just a little brief introduction. My name is Sarah. I am the marketing manager currently at the Storage Group. So happy to be here with you all. And just briefly, what we'll be discussing today is what really does it take to make your website as powerful as possible. Current websites today definitely have some limitations, definitely have some drawbacks. So right now in this day and age, what does it take to have a website in the storage industry with zero limitations? So yeah, pretty interesting information. Stay tuned here. All right, so moving on to the agenda. These are kind of the brief points that we'll be discussing today in the webinar. Also, just a brief side note here, if you do have any questions, you should have a little question option in that panel on your right-hand side. So if you do have questions throughout the webinar, go ahead and ask those questions and I'll get back to them, as many as I can at the end of the webinar. So feel free to interact there. As for the agenda for today, starting off, we'll be talking about the demand of mobile and e-commerce capabilities for storage facilities, right? So pretty important there. Mobile demand is soaring, and that is something we'll go pretty deep into right off the start here. Next point, we'll be talking about traditional mobile apps. That's just your standard app that you're used to on your phone. What traditional apps can bring to the tenant experience, and what they kind of take away from tenants and how they're hindering your tenant's online experience. So if you have an app, definitely pay attention. If you don't, definitely stay tuned. This next portion here will talk about progressive web apps. So that's pretty new technology, and don't be scared if you're listening to this and you have absolutely no idea what a PWA is. That's totally fine and understandable. This is incredibly new technology, and we'll be talking about the main PWA benefits for the self-storage industry. So really new information, stay tuned there. And then at the end here, we'll be dialing it all together, pulling everything in, talking about Click and Store 3.0 and our brand new Pinnacle website theme, and kind of interlacing this information that we've learned and letting you know, what exactly these offer and why it's important. Moving right along here. Okay, so I'm just going to start off this webinar with a brief poll question. I want to know what type of, electronic devices you all use the most. So is that a phone? Are you mostly on your tablet? Do you pull out a laptop, or are you sitting on your desktop most of the day? What exactly do you pull out and interact with the majority of the day? So I will get this poll started here. I'll give you a minute or so to get everyone to answer the poll. A little bit more time. Almost everyone has voted. Just first thing that comes to mind, what do you pull out the most often? Give you about 10 more seconds here to give people a chance to vote. All right, I'm going to close this poll up. Almost everyone voted here. Oh, everyone voted. That's awesome. All right, so it looks like the results here, I'll share them on the screen. Actually, not surprisingly at all. This is exactly why, we decided to ask this question, just to show you all the power of mobile devices. So almost everyone is most often on a cell phone, a smartphone, a mobile device, right? Because they're so convenient, but we also do have these laptop and desktop options. Pretty interesting that no one chose tablet. those are iPads, Kindle, so things like that. So definitely something to keep in mind as we go into these future slides. Really applicable information. Alrighty, so thinking about that, how often people use smartphones, you yourselves answered that you pull out your smartphones the most. And why is that? And, just thinking, I'm sure you all know this, but we live in an incredibly, quote unquote, on the go world. What does that mean? We have incredibly busy schedules. We really don't give ourselves that much time to rest. America, our society, we live in an incredibly individualistic society, meaning we're go-goers, right? We always have things to do on our to think about when you're doing anything, any sort of digital marketing, anything for your website, definitely keep those two things in mind. So let's take a look here. 69% of total digital media time on average is spent on smartphones, right? So that's a huge majority. That was actually pretty similar to what you all said, right? Spending the most of your time on smartphones here. So that on its own just shows you the need for convenience and the need to market to smartphone users. So really, really important. That's a big pool of potential tenants for you. Okay, then take a look at the other side here. 53% of users will abandon a website if it's too slow. Okay, so remember, convenience and speed. Speed is the other aspect here. So if your website's too slow, you might lose potential tenants. You're going to have those website abandonments. Really, you want to keep it fast, keep it convenient, to keep people engaged with your website and keep people engaged so you can increase your chances for potential conversions. All right, moving on. So another trend in addition to mobile devices and mobile use is e-commerce, right? And another term to use for e-commerce would simply be online shopping carts, right? We've all used them before. We've heard of them at the very least, and this is a huge uprising trend. Popularity of online shopping is absolutely at an all-time high. The reason being is that convenience is our main concern here, right? So checkouts, the checkout process for online shopping carts is incredibly easy. The checkout is on the customer's terms. They don't have to come into your storage facility during office hours. Rather, they can order a self-storage unit on their own terms, right? That's just an example. Taking a look here, beneath that, starting in 2014, globally, we received $1.3 trillion in e-commerce revenue, right? So just in 2014, that was a pretty significant, substantial amount. But then moving into 2017, that number jumped all the way up to 2.3 trillion. So pretty substantial jump there, right? And then we're moving into 2021, and this is just an expectation of what this number is supposed to rise to. 2021 is expected to bring in 4.5 trillion e-commerce dollars, right? So huge, huge popularity, big time trend that storage facilities need to take advantage of. Okay, another piece of information that's really important for storage facilities to take awareness of is the recent Google Speed update. Okay, and so this is important because, now I'll read exactly what this speed update was, and then I'll go into that. So what it means is faster mobile websites are rewarded with higher mobile rankings. And so that's significant. So Google is always changing their algorithm, right? I'm sure you've heard about that, but really they're always changing things to make websites function better, and they reward websites that work well with higher rankings. So you hop up higher on those search results. Well, the reason that this specific update is a little bit different, a little bit more unique, is Google is rewarding people with higher mobile rankings specifically, right? So we already talked about how important it is to market to smartphone users, to mobile devices. So we have to take advantage and find a solution for this Google Speed update. We have a potential problem here, right? If your website isn't totally functioning correctly, pardon me, on mobile devices, if it's not incredibly intuitive, incredibly mobile friendly, right? This Google Speed update could potentially result in your website being dragged down in mobile rankings, which is, typically how a person would search for a local storage facility. And so thinking about the solution here, it's just what I said before. You have to offer an intuitive and mobile-friendly website. That's incredibly important. It's a #1 priority right now. So thinking here, looking over at the right-hand side of this slide, what is more mobile-friendly than an app? All right, so think about this. 89% of mobile media time specifically is spent in apps, right? So that's a huge percentage of time. That's definitely the vast majority of time. The other 11% of time is spent on websites. So thinking about a solution here, progressive web apps could potentially be your solution. Why is that? Well, it hybridizes both options, right? It kind of combines the best of both worlds when you look at an app and a website. We'll go deeper into that, but just keep that in mind. Okay, so let's start off with just what a traditional native app is. If you're not really sure what a traditional native app is, I certainly never used to reference an app this way, but it's really just any standard typical app that you'll go to on your phone. You open up your phone, maybe you pull out Instagram, pull up WhatsApp, whatever it may be, that's your traditional native app. But a more specific definition from TechTarget is this. A native application is a software program that is developed for use on a particular platform or device. Okay, so think about that definition real quick. There's a limiting component to it, right? And that is, quote, particular platform or device. It's limiting because apps typically are only designed for specifically a smartphone or specifically a tablet. So an example here, you may be unable to download the Instagram app on your desktop or on your laptop, right? I certainly can. That's an annoyance I find. It's definitely a drawback of traditional native apps here, just right off the bat. Okay, but then let's think on the other side here, right? What do people really like about traditional apps? Obviously, there's things that people like about them because they're so popular and everyone knows what apps are. Okay, so first reason they're really popular, apps are easy to use. They're intuitive and they're incredibly user-friendly, right? Usually they're not confusing at all. They're also direct, right? You can get from point A to point B, meaning you get to your desired information in a matter of seconds, like really quick, really direct and easy experience. Another really broad explanation of the popularity of apps is simply the mobile popularity that we've been discussing on every single slide here, right? Mobile popularity is absolutely at its peak, and it's fully expected for smartphone use to increase in the future. So since apps work so well with mobile devices, of course, they're very popular. And then apps are also familiar. They've been around for a while now. So the first apps here started out with games, I guess, quote unquote apps, right? First type of application we had. And that was released by Nokia in 1997. So a while ago here now. But then the App Store, right, from Apple that we're kind of all super familiar with here, was launched in 2007. That was huge for the industry. Why? Within 2 days of that release, 10 million apps were downloaded. So really, really just showing you the popularity of apps and showing you how ecstatic people were to have this technology. Okay, so we talked about the benefits. We talked about what exactly people like about traditional apps. But what are the weaknesses? What are the drawbacks here? And there's definitely some that we've kind of just gotten used to, right? But we don't have to do that. So #1, native app weaknesses are battery drainers. Oh my gosh, even when you don't have apps open, right, they will drain the heck out of your battery. Maybe your phone is supposed to last 2 days, but you're using Snapchat or you're using Instagram all day. Your battery will be drained way faster. Okay, next point here. They have a really high level of data usage. So maybe you have a certain amount of data to use within a month, and you find gosh dang it, you keep running out of your data in 15 days and you have 15 days left without any data. You know what? That's probably because of these native apps. They use up a ton of data. Native apps also have a lack of website functions. And so that's pretty broad here. I'll explain more. For example, you can't necessarily link to an app or share a URL as you can with a website, right? It's really kind of hard to share information from device to device, from friend to friend, when you're using a native app, right? Unless you're taking a screenshot of your phone, which is not convenient at all. The other reason is maybe there's more information on the website as compared to a business's app, right? And that's because there's limited information. People are trying to make it more convenient. But what this results in is, you know, people having to jump from app to website or website to app, and it's really creating a bit of a headache there. Another weakness that native apps draw in is storage space. You know, gosh, people will download tons of apps and then they realize you don't have any more room or storage space to take pictures, you know, maybe with your family, with your friends. You can't download any more apps. Maybe you want to download another news app and you don't have the room. Well, really, these native apps take up a huge amount of space. I mean, one app can take up 1 whole gigabyte or more. And people typically will only have, you know, around 20 to 30 gigabytes on their phone unless they specifically got phones with more storage space. So that's an issue. There's also the slow downloads aspect. When you go to the app store, you download a native app, you've typically got to wait a couple minutes. And, you know, you might be sitting there thinking, well, a couple minutes, that's nothing. I can wait a couple of minutes. But really, when you're thinking about this digital world and the need for speed, the need for convenience, this is a long time. And people's patience, you would be surprised, you know, how minimal it comes to be. So this is actually a problem, and it results in app download abandonment. There's also those manual updates. Oh my gosh, and this is probably my biggest pet peeve about native apps is when you have to go into the app store to update your apps. Maybe it's because of a bug fix. Maybe they totally revamped the app. You have to go in and basically re-download the app, right? So they're a little bit of a headache and they're just kind of an annoyance. And it's something that needs to be improved. Okay, so we will kind of switch gears here. I'll go into the second poll question. And that is, do you know what a progressive web app is? And I know I gave a brief introduction, brief definition earlier, but I want to know if you really knew what this technology was before you attended this webinar. So I'm going to launch this poll. And I'll give you a few minutes to answer here. For about a third of the audience to answer. Give about 20 more seconds. All right, 10 more seconds here and then I'll close it up. All right, perfect. I will close this. I'll share the results with everyone. So as you see here, the majority of you guys don't know, and you know that's kind of what's expected. This is really recent technology that was released from Google, and we'll talk more about that, but totally expected here. And this is why, you know, you joined the webinar today, just to learn a little bit more about this technology and learn about what it can do for your facility specifically. Okay, so going into progressive web apps, again, you know, switching gears. So overall definition rather of PWAs, it's a hybridized app and website fully functioning on any online device. Okay, so let's think about that definition of the traditional apps. There was that limiting component saying the traditional apps can only function on particular devices. Well, that's where PWAs kind of have that first initial leg up, right? Where they fully function on any device from tablet to smartphone to desktop or laptop, right? Next thing here, this is a little quote from a Forbes article. They offer modern web capabilities to offer an app-like experience, right? Drawing in that both the combination of websites and apps together, and kind of bringing in the best of both worlds. Like I said before, this is the latest technology from Google. Keep in mind, Google has kind of always been ahead of the technology game, right? So any release that they offer out definitely should be paid attention to, because typically there is a reason that Google is releasing that technology. And Google's core focus is always, improving audience experience. So if you're offering this to your tenants, this is a way that you can improve tenant online experience. So you can use your PWA as an app or a website, whatever is best for you in the moment. We'll go into that a little bit more. So PWAs truly overcome native app weaknesses. It's really an optimal choice for you, starting with the speed reason. So this is pretty interesting. Research shows that PWAs are 55% faster than traditional native apps. Okay, so remember that need for speed is, greater than ever before, especially on mobile devices because of that Google Speed update, right? So PWAs here are 55% faster. So already, it beats that convenience and speed factor, keeping people more engaged on your website due to speed. On average, the PWA page load time, per click, once you switch to a different landing page, that's about 2.5 seconds or less. If you are anything over, 3.5, 4 seconds, if you're getting up into that range, that is where your website abandonment rate is going to way increase. You're just going to lose engagement left and right. Another benefit here is PWAs are linkable, as I said before, right? So if you want to share information with a friend, maybe one of your tenants wants to share your storage facility information, you can easily link to the Progressive Web App just as you would any other website. And that gives the potential opportunity to invite more people to download your PWA. So that's a really awesome feature of Progressive Web App. Okay, so then there's some smartphone specific perks about Progressive Web Apps. First thing here, they use way less data, right? 70% less data than traditional apps. So you're not going to run into that issue, hopefully, right? Unless you're using some other apps where you run out of data halfway through the month. Now, this kind of solves that issue, especially if you were only using PWAs, right? So that's a big time benefit, big time smartphone perk. There's also minimal battery usage. So because Progressive Web Apps both take up less storage space, I'll mention that next, and use less data, it doesn't drain your battery quite as much. Moving on, Progressive Web Apps take up 25 times less storage space than traditional apps. So hopefully not running into that issue you are when you have a ton of traditional apps, right, where you run out of storage. Maybe you have some more rooms for photos with your family, more room for more apps, whatever it may be. All right, so a few more overcomings of PWAs rather over native apps. They have automatic background updates. So remember that kind of annoyance here of going to the App Store, downloading the app, and then updating it. PWAs fix that issue altogether by, fixing bug fixes, updating the website, updating the app right in the background. So really tenants or, whatever your audience may be, they won't even realize it. They'll come to the app, it's totally updated. They don't have to do anything, right? Your updates are out there. So this is pretty interesting here. With traditional apps, on average, 20% of people totally resist those app updates for traditional apps, and they continue to use the old version. So if you have a website update that you're really wanting your tenants to see, if you're on a traditional app, 20% of these people won't see that information, right? Because they're not updating their app. So definitely something to keep in mind here. There's also just a general faster install rate. So when you're on a Progressive Web App, there's a simple download to home screen option. This option, as compared to going to the App Store, downloading a traditional app, the PWA option is 15 times faster than native apps. Again, dialing into that need for speed. Okay, last poll question here. And this one's a little longer. I'll give some more time here. I want to read it off first. What is most important to you for your storage facility? Right, so is it increasing conversions? That is storage rentals and purchases. For you, is it offering the best customer experience to your tenants? Is it increasing facility automation, freeing up your time, making your life a little bit easier? Or is it being the first storage facility choice in your area? And I know that you might want multiple of these, but what's your first reaction? What would you want the most? So I will launch this real quick here. I'll give you some time. About a third of people left to enter into the poll. Already some pretty interesting results. Just a couple more people need to vote. Give 10 more seconds here, and we'll close it up. Alrighty, I'm gonna close up this poll. Share the results with everyone. All right, yeah, really not surprising. Definitely understand this, for the success of your business, the vast majority of everyone answered increasing conversions, whether that be, various storage purchases, storage rentals, reservations, that seems to be what everyone is focused on. Great news for you is progressive web apps bring all 4 of these factors into your tenant experience and into your facility experience. So we'll dive deeper into that. We already kind of have with this speed factor of progressive web apps. So as we've talked about what progressive web apps are, I really want to talk about this new Pinnacle website theme that the storage group is offering coming fall of this year, 2018. And because it is a progressive web app platform, truly there are 0 limitations for self-storage facilities specifically. To start off here, keep in mind, this is the only self-storage website that functions entirely as a progressive web app. So if you're trying to give your facility an extra edge, how you can have a leg up on a bigger self-storage brand, this may be your solution. So we already talked about the progressive web apps. You'll get all of those with this Pinnacle website theme, of course. In addition, with this progressive web app platform for your website, you can send push notifications to your tenants on any device. Okay, so if you don't know what a push notification is, it's really just a kind of a text message, but more so like a little notification from your app, letting the tenant know a message. So you can send a message to all of your tenants, and maybe that's, hey, we have an upcoming storage auction this weekend, or maybe you want to send an individualized message, right, to one specific tenant, and they're like, this tenant hasn't paid their bill, they're a week overdue. Well, go ahead and send them a little reminder via a push notification, reminding them to pay their bill. So that's really awesome, really great feature for self-storage facilities specifically. Another factor here, I've mentioned it before, I feel like I don't even have to say this again, but because this is a progressive web app and because this is such an incredible platform for a website, the speed of the Pinnacle website theme is absolutely through the roof. It's another way to compete with other local storage facilities. How can you compete with them? Well, if your website is faster to load on mobile devices, right, because of this Google speed update, and because Google is pretty much king of search engines, right? Everyone uses Google. You're probably going to pop up higher on those rankings with the faster speed on your mobile devices, right? So this really increases engagement with your tenants on your site because it's loading faster. And because of this increased engagement and higher chance of you popping up higher on rankings, you also have an increased chance of online conversion. So really a trifecta there. It's awesome. All right, so what else makes the Pinnacle website theme truly stand out, from other websites? And truly, what it really comes down to is the tenant experience. Of course, the self-storage facilities experience is incredibly improved. It's fully automated, right? But this Pinnacle website theme is simple, it's fast, and very convenient, right? Think about it. Two of those things are dial into what we needed right at the beginning. Right at the beginning, our two main focuses are speed and convenience. The Pinnacle website theme also has some really awesome features. There are live Google Maps offered right off the home page. And so some of you may say, oh, I've always seen Google Maps on websites. Yes, you probably have. But in addition to that, live Google Maps typically slow down typical website pages. Well, if you use a progressive web app platform like the Pinnacle website theme, this really has no detrimental effects on your speed. In fact, it keeps it at an optimal level. And then live maps on their own add another level of tenant engagement right off your home page. All right, some more features here. There's something called micro interactions that are interlaced with this Pinnacle website theme. Micro interactions really create a more direct tenant experience. So as tenants hover their mouse or hover their finger over your website, there's various things that happen that pop up, both letting the tenant know that the website is fully functioning, so keeping them engaged. But these are also call to action buttons. So this means that tenants can get to their desired information really within a matter of seconds, maybe less than a second, right? Really incredibly fast experience because of what is visually displayed on the homepage, right? And our tech team, our creative team really designed this theme with a purpose here to improve your conversion rates. The Pinnacle website theme also has this really awesome increased analytics ability. So on websites, you can always track how many people come to your website, but you can't necessarily track page by page where your tenants are spending the most time. And because of this analytics option that is a big time feature of the Pinnacle theme, you can see where your tenants are spending the most time and take advantage of this information. Get to know your audience, get to know what your tenants are the most interested in. And as you know, I'm sure you know that it's really great to know your audience and know who you're marketing to. So this is a great tool for storage facilities. All right, talking a little bit about Click and Store 3.0 and the Pinnacle theme together as an all-encompassing tool. So we're almost done here, stay with me. But these two work together seamlessly as a progressive web app. If you don't necessarily know what Click and Store 3.0 is, it's our 24/7 online rental tool. When it's on Pinnacle, it works as a progressive web app, so you get all of those PWA features and benefits over a traditional app. Click and Store on its own just really automates your facility entirely, both making the facility experience much easier, right, but also increasing convenience for tenants, letting them have the ability to order storage units or supplies whenever they choose. There's a convenient, intuitive shopping cart along with this and an online tenant portal, right? So tenants can log into your PWA with their own username and password, maybe go into a past shopping cart, past orders, and have the opportunity to make more future orders with this portal. So let's dive deeper into the shopping cart of Click and Store. So with this shopping cart, tenants can shop for storage units, storage supplies, tenant insurance, and more, whatever it may be. Really what this is it's like an Amazon shopping experience for storage facilities. It's really incredible. I've seen it myself. So intuitive, so easy. Tenants can save items in their shopping cart, right? And I know a lot of you may do this just with Amazon or other online shopping experiences. So they can save items such as a storage unit in their shopping cart. They can switch devices and they can come back to the same contents within their shopping cart because of that tenant portal option. They can also view past reservations and orders. Maybe they had a really good experience with a specific storage rental and they want to, reserve that same storage unit as they had in the past or same type of storage unit. So really, really awesome option, really great capabilities with that shopping cart. So pulling it all together, really what Click and Store and the Pinnacle website theme offer coincidentally is a chance for you to stand out from local storage facility competitors. For you, I know it's not about having the latest and greatest technology. Really, that's not a factor here. What it's about is giving your tenants an optimal online experience. And what that does, it helps you to retain your current tenants, and also helps you to convert new tenants with this easy, intuitive app experience. So this really just may be the edge that your facility truly needs. All right, before I head into questions, I just want to give a quick announcement here. The storage group is doing a very exciting contest. So the final prize, if you get chosen, is a luxury Las Vegas experience. It will be worth $500 and it's of your choice. That's my favorite part. So all you have to do here is check 4 out of the 9 items off of this checklist. So it's really exciting here. And just by joining our webinar and asking a question, checks 1 item off your list, and then you just need 3 more items checked off. So go ahead and take a look at that. No need to take a screenshot of it or take a picture of your screen right now. I will send this out in an email to everyone who has attended today, and give you an opportunity to join in on the fun. All right, so I will go into some questions. Let's see if I got any here. I really only got 1 question. Okay, question here is, can you elaborate on the advantage of using PWA for batched or individualized message versus using just text functionality off of your property management system? And that's a good question. You can always text them. I think so with these push notifications versus a text message, I think it's more so a matter of tenants can download this progressive web app. They have this option to log into your storage facility website. They have the option to log in, to shop, to interact with your storage facility, right? So not only can you send them push notifications, but really there's this added extra element with the PWA engagement, getting them more involved on your website. If you send them a text message, they might not necessarily see everything you have to offer on your website. Maybe you have some special deals going on your website in addition to whatever message you sent them. Also, if you send them a push notification to say, hey, pay your bill, they're already in the PWA, they can go right into that progressive web app, pay their bill. It's a way faster experience. Okay, next question here. When will this be released? So I'm guessing you're referring to the Pinnacle website theme. This should be coming fall of this year, 2018. We're expecting it in September. We're expecting it to be ready to go at the show. So if you are coming to SSA, sorry, I should specify which show it is. If you're coming to SSA, the fall show in 2018 in Las Vegas, feel free to stop by either the Click and Store booth or the storage group, and we'll offer you a free demo. It'll be ready to go there. So that'll be pretty exciting. So if you're going, definitely come join us. Next question. I've got all these questions after the contest announcement. Is this new system going to be required for current Click and Store customers? I am not entirely sure. If you currently have Click and Store, you're good to go right now if it's functioning on your website. So this is something I would have to clarify with our tech team director, our product management director. So I can definitely come back to these questions. Anything I'm not 100% sure on, I will email you personally and get back to these questions. But no, for now, I'm not entirely sure. Next question, will this be economical for small storage facilities? Oh my gosh, of course, yeah. I think if you're a small storage facility, like I said, this kind of gives your facility an extra edge over these big, massive storage facilities that tend to take first place on online rankings. These bigger storage facilities, like I said, this is the first PWA in the industry. So this gives you an extra edge. I truly think that this is actually something small facilities should be dialing into immediately. Someone asked, will I send these slides out in an email as well? I can certainly do that. I also have your name, so I can email them to you as well. So yep, no problem. Okay, so someone said, how much faster is the new click and store on Pinnacle? Oh, well, like I said, when click and store and the Pinnacle theme are dialed into a progressive web app, they all function together on a progressive web app platform. Traditionally, this was just a website on its own, but now it's a progressive web app. And so the speed of this has massively increased. I've been on demos already with my team and I've seen the speed myself. You can test page speeds. And I myself can attest to say the speed is massive, the increase is incredible. I wouldn't be sharing this information that it's so fast unless we truly know and we truly have seen that this Pinnacle theme is much faster. So that's all the questions for today. So thank you all for joining. If you have any more questions specifically, Jill Baker here on the screen is a great person to contact. She is our director of sales, really informed, really knowledgeable about all the products we have. So she can be reached at this email here. I will also send this information in my follow-up email, or you can reach her at her phone number. But thank you all so much for joining today. It was a pleasure to have you, and I wish you the best on your rest of your week. Bye.